So have you ever used the dialer? Have you ever pulled the list before?
Yeah, I've done this on the investment side, on the residential side.
Okay,
So
cool.
I've used PropStream to pull it. I actually just got PropStream again like a week or two ago. I've used the Mojo dialer. Yeah, I think those are the main two. PropStream to pull the list, Mojo to make the calls, the triple
Yep.
dialer.
I would even tell
And
you, how
that's
much are you
it.
paying for PropStream right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't even let me
Well,
look
the only
now.
reason why I'm suggesting this is because PropStream has great data for like 2 to 4 units, but after 4 units, it kind of falls off the face of the earth when it comes to commercial data. So I would probably tell you that something like Reonomy might be a little bit more beneficial for you. Yeah, so I can send you a link to that website right now. We'll help you out a little bit with getting commercial data because, like, just to give you an example, here you go. You're gonna look at like something like this, right? And then you're gonna be able to go to you said where? Houston, out, right?
Oh, Houston, yeah. Houston, Dallas, anywhere in Texas.
All right, so like the Dallas, we'll look at the Dallas Fort Worth one. Come on, let's refresh this page a little bit. Hold on. Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, yeah, like so like the greater Fort Worth market. Okay. Let's just take this as an example, and then we can look at Houston as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, look, you can go to multifamily. We can go to, let's uncheck this. Let's do multifamily general. We can do property units, right? Like, let's just say we do 5 to 20 units.
I'm sold already. This is
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
You
PropStream
can,
definitely does not have this.
I know, right? I mean, like, it's way easier. Includes a phone number. You can say, like, not sold within the last 10 years. And then you have your you have 750 properties in this MSA that work for you, right? And you can call all these people, right? I would even say you can add this, not built before 2000s, right? So you're not calling brand new construction product because they're probably going to want a premium. So anyways, this gives you this decent list. I would start here. Here's 676 properties. You can do this for the Houston market. This is the other MSA. So let's get rid of the Dallas. It doesn't even matter. But anyways, you can do it for any MSA, any city, any county, whatever you want, right? So this will have everything for you. You hit apply, and you can just go to export and pull all these lists. So, anyways, you can pull that really quickly just to give you an understanding. Like this way, you got all the data right in front of you. You have you already know that like this is your entire inventory list. You got a few thousand properties that you can call, and we're just going to rip and rip and rip and rip, try to pull out the best of the best product there. When you're calling, what do you feel like is your biggest challenge when you're on the phone?
Well, since I'm new to the multifamily space, it would just be like what to say. So I like your like take on it, and I didn't really have context when I was listening to you making the calls this morning. Because I know you were saying you and your partner were trying to 1031. I don't know if that was like legit or you was just bullshitting trying to get the combo going.
So
So I guess it would
it's
be like
both
trying to
actually.
frame. Okay.
It's both. So I mean, we happen to be going through a 1031 exchange on a property right now, but that's one of our scripts that we use.
Okay. Okay. I guess I wouldn't really know how to, I guess, get the combo going because I am an investor looking to buy something like that's legit, but I also am a realtor. So I guess pivoting, and just sounding confident since I haven't made a cold call in like
Sure.
2 years. So it's just repetition. I just got to get back into it, really. That's just going to be the biggest thing.
So here, let's do this, right? So hold on. Let's go to opening lines. I'm gonna just go through the script, all right, just so you can see it. Okay. Okay. So here you go. So you can use which one that you want, right? Like, hey, name. This is Henry with XYZ Company. The reason for my call is I'm working with a client who's going through a 1031 exchange. If you're a real estate agent, if you're an investor, I run a local investment company. My partner and I are going through a 1031 exchange. So I was curious if you're totally against selling your property, right? You could also just say, my partner and I are looking to acquire more properties in the area. I have a client, you can say, I'm looking to buy more properties, buy a building similar to yours. So I was just curious if you'd be totally against selling your property. So you could open however you feel comfortable. You can mix and match any of these opening lines. Totally fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. And a lot of calls I've done in the past on the residential side have like sounded like the ones that you made with the guy who you got his email, the older guy who doesn't like text messages. It's like, oh, I don't want to sell. And if I do sell, the price is going to be unreasonable. After that, I'm just like, well, now I don't know what to say. And you
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
handled that perfectly.
Yeah, so keep in mind that like my intention for a lot of the times is like I want as much our first call is information. That's what we're information grabbing, right? Like we're trying to get as much info as we possibly can. And to the point where like I want to be able to intelligently be able to evaluate the property at the end. And then I also want to be able to make an offer on the property based on everything from our first phone call. So if we go to multifamily, which I don't remember let's see,
Now
yes.
that's the part I've never done is actually making an offer on the
Yeah,
Maybe
so
not the first
we'll
one.
work through that. So like this will get, so
Okay.
if you go to multifamily here, which is page, what page is this? 8? Yeah, page 8. Okay. So page 8 is all multifamily property detail questions. So you can literally just like, can you clarify how many units there are, unit breakdown, clarify X amount of bedrooms, whatever, what utilities do the tenants pay, clarify, you pay X amount of utilities, what kind of renovations were done. You don't have to go through one by one every single time, 100% of the time, but you totally against taking payments over time, seller financing. Are you would you be able to give me a rough gross income number? So based off of the expenses being roughly X, you mentioned the income is roughly X. So you're netting X, certain amount of money. If they give you pushback on financials, I understand you don't want to share any specific financials. However, can you give me any type of gross income number so I can get the best price possible for you? So
Mm.
everything you're going to need to know question wise for multifamily properties here, at least to get you started. So let me stop sharing this for a second. Because what will happen is basically on that first phone call, you're gathering that information. You can use the script to get you there. What's going to happen then is then you're going to have to learn to evaluate properties. So like every single Thursday, we have our underwriting trainings.
Yeah.
You're going to, and look,
That was the first mod course I was going to go through is the underwriting part because I know how
yeah,
to underwrite on the residential side, but multifamily is kind of wishy-washy.
yeah.
Just
So what I'll do
I
for
just use
you,
the NOI with the expenses to get the valuation, but a lot of people it seems like they don't do cap rates. And a lot of people just seem unrealistic in how much they think their property is worth.
welcome,
So I thought it
welcome.
was me.
That's not you. Welcome to the world of, like the commercial real estate world. Everyone, listen. To be honest, though, think about it like this: I don't want to sell. If I don't want to sell a property, okay, and then you randomly call me out of the blue and you say, "Would you be totally against selling your property?" I'm not totally against it, but I'm going to want a fortune for it. And if you're willing to pay a fortune, then take it,
No,
right?
yeah, for sure. Because I have property too. I have single families, and people call me, so it's like the same thing. I don't want to sell it, but if
Same
you want to
exact.
give me a crazy,
That's
yeah,
my point. So like keep in mind that like because you're an investor, you get it, right? Like so it's like when you get those types of calls and you get those people's responses, it's like I'm in your shoes. I get it, right? Like of course, like you've got some stupid number. I understand you'd want to sell it. It's sifting through those people to find the few that are actually relatively motivated to sell. Because I'm not here to convince you otherwise of not selling. If you don't want to sell, totally fine. I don't care. I'm waiting for the people who go, yes, I'm interested in selling for a fair and reasonable price. So I'm going to give you this underwriting spreadsheet. So let me make a copy here for you. Actually, let me see if I can do this for you really quickly. Yeah, viewer, got it. Copy link. Done. All right, do me a favor. So this one's for you. Okay, this is built out to be for multifamily already. This is an underwriting spreadsheet. It definitely can be a little bit complicated. This is what we use every single Thursday, right? This was built by a small private equity group that does a lot of they underwrite a lot of properties, obviously. This is what they use. So it's very tech savvy, right? So you'll need to, kind of play around with it a little bit. Look, I've used this to underwrite thousands of properties. This is going to be really helpful to give you a really quick understanding of how to evaluate property. Now, I want you to, real quick, do not ask to edit this. I want you just to make a copy. So in the top right-hand corner, when you look at it, just go to File, make a copy. Cool. All right, cool. So now I'm saying now you have your own copy. You can mess around with it, do whatever you want. Okay. Now, what's going to be really important for you when you come to the underwriting trainings is I want you to plug in the numbers, and then I just want you to send me a shared link, okay, to edit it with you. Okay. So because what I want you to do is practice using it. Instead of saying, hey, here's the details, Henry, underwrite it for me, I want you to practice underwriting it and then send me a link to see your sheet. And this way I can tweak you, right? And make some adjustments over time. This will give you a really good understanding of actually what the return metrics look like. If you're still looking at the, here, I'll share my screen real quick. So if you're still looking at the one that I shared with you, so obviously, over time we'll practice with this, but my intention for you is to look at something like this. When you plug in all the numbers, you're going to want to look at basically this side of the column. There you go. I want you to look at everything here. So everything from this down. This is the important side to understand where your property is going to be at. Because if you're looking at a deal and like the seller here wants, let's just say, I'm making this all up, obviously, right? Let's say they want $3.5 million. And they want $3.5 million today. And then we look at this is based off, this is the sale assumptions that we're saying in 5 years of holding it, 20 quarters, okay, 24 quarters in a year. And if we sold this at a 7.5% cap rate with the future income that we think we can get it to, this property will only be worth $4 million. If I paid $3.5 million today and then spent a couple $100,000 renovating it, cleaning it up, all the work, energy, and effort, and it's only worth $4 million, do you think that's a good deal?
Negative.
Negative. I agree, 100%. Now, hypothetically, if you'd start doing some numbers and it's only, let's say the seller wants $2 million, okay, and you say like, oh, okay, wow, we're right off the bat, plug in some numbers, and you're like, oh, okay, in 5 years it's worth $4 million. This sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Exactly. Where do I sign? So, because it's less about cap rate, right? Like it's not always about cap rate, even though cap rate is one of the obviously important metrics that you're going to look at when it comes to multifamily investing. But there's a lot of things that we're going to look at, which are mostly are down here, and the return metrics. So this is actually built out for syndicating deals. So you can see a pref return and the LP splits. So it's already built out for you. So if you want to change this however you want. So like I tell people who aren't doing investment deals, they could just do a 0 and 100, right? And then this will just calculate it all as by yourself. However, if you want to keep it with investment money coming in, you can see the splits here, right? And you can play around with it. All the LP returns are up top. You know, and then it'll break down for you your cap rate going in, your price per square foot going in, your price per unit going in, your cash on cash year one going in, your stabilized yield once everything's said and done, your stabilized sale, your stabilized price per unit, stabilized sale on a square foot basis, and your equity multiple. So it'll automatically calculate everything for you to know if this is a good deal or not. And you can literally scroll over to the so this will literally just give you a quick breakdown that you can even use this to, you know, raise capital, know numbers really quickly. Like this will give you an idea really quick if this deal makes sense or not. Really easy. It calculates everything for you. Your biggest thing to fill in is your income details. So you're going to plug in how many ones, twos. You can type whatever you want here, right? Edit it however you want. And I'll show you how to fill this stuff in over time. But obviously you can kind of play around with it. If you have any issues, I would just tell you anytime you're underwriting, just make a copy. Before you start touching things, make a copy. So you always have your base.
Right? Delete one little thing and it messes up everything.
Exactly. Right? It's a very finicky thing. And keep in mind, like it's all built in Google Sheets. So if you go to Excel, it's going to be completely screwed up. Okay. I'm just telling you, try it. Okay.
And I just download a local copy, so let me not do that.
Yeah, I definitely would just everything in Google Sheets. It's the best way to do it. Keep it in Google Sheets. And then the cool part also about it is that when you do it, everything in Google Sheets, you can log into it no matter where you are. You can be on your phone in the middle of the Bahamas. You can go on your worksheet, right? Just makes it easy for you. So I just would recommend doing that. And obviously I've used, you can watch any YouTube video that I have about underwriting. Obviously go through the underwriting trainings, and you can see anytime that we do anything with multifamily, I'm using this spreadsheet. So it never changes. It's always this sheet. You'll see it done 100,000 times. Okay. So you're going to plug in the income side, and then you're also going to plug in the expenses. And by the way, really quickly, you can see here, I only have one number here, which is not normal. Typically it's all plugged in. However, I just took a 35% expense ratio here total just to get a quick rough estimate with a 5% management fee. Right. So if they don't want to share any expenses, no problem. I'll do a ballpark 40% total expenses. So everything's here for you to start underwriting properties as fast as possible. My intention for you, dude, is like in the next 90 days, by the end of the 90-day period of time, I want you to be able to generate. You have already generated a bunch of leads. You've already underwritten a bunch of deals. Right. And you have a couple deals that are, hopefully 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 deals, something like that are fairly lucrative in these markets. Right, where you're either trying to sell them or trying to acquire it. And here's the coolest part. You literally don't need to know anything else. If you feel it, you work on the prospecting side of the piece, right, where you're really efficient at that, using the script, using that, and practicing and role playing and really understanding it. And then, you go through the underwriting spreadsheet and you really practice how to evaluate these deals. And while you're prospecting for sellers, you turn them into buyers, right? Like in those, eventually you'll have a good buyers list. So for the stuff that you don't really want to ever buy, flip them to these guys. Or obviously, if you think it's a wonderful deal, you double check yourself 17 times over in your underwriting spreadsheet, good to go, buy it yourself.